Good morning to all. Myself Arun Kumar. I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Information Technology, KS Rangasamy College of Technology, Tiruchengodu. Today we are going to discuss about the structure of compiler. First of all, what is compiler? Compiler is a translator which is used to convert program in high-level language to low-level languages. What is translator? Translator is a one type of program. It will convert one form of program into another form of program. So the one form of program is a high-level language program. So what is high-level language program? High-level language program is a user-designed program. If I am having a knowledge of the C program or Python program or C++, I am going to develop the programming for that particular languages. If I am going to design any programming the language, that program is a high level program, high level language program. The machine cannot understanding the high level language program. Using the translator, it will be converted into low level languages or binary level languages. So the low level and then binary level language is a zeros and then ones. The machine can be understood by the low level and then machine level languages. So that's why we are using the concept of translator. It translate the entire program. The compiler, it will translate the entire program and also report the error in the source program encountered during the translation process. The main advantages of the compiler, if you are having the 1000 lines of your program, at the same time it will scan the whole program. After it will show the total number of errors in that program. This is the example diagram. The compiler is a one type of translator. We are giving the source program is a our input. Otherwise we may represent it as a high level language program. The high level language program is a user designed program. We are applying to the compiler translator. It will be converted into target program, otherwise output, otherwise low level languages or binary level languages. If there is any error in that program, the compiler translator, it will display the error message during the translation process. The next one is the phases of compiler. Otherwise we may represent it as a structure of compiler. There are 6 phases of compiler. The first one is the lexical analysis, second one is the syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and then code generation. This is the block diagram of phases of compiler. There are 6 phases of the compiler. We are giving the input is high level language program. So the high level language program is a user designed program. We are applying that input to the first phase of the compiler. The first phase of the compiler is the lexical analysis. After completing the lexical analysis, it will be processed by the second phase of the compiler is the syntax analysis. So after completing the syntax analysis, the next phase of the compiler is the semantic analysis. This process will be executed in a linear manner. One after another process only it can be executed. Then intermediate code generation, code optimization, and then code generation. So this type of compiler translator, it will convert the high level language program into assembly level language program. Generally some type of C compiler directly convert the high level language program into low level language program or machine level language program. Directly it will convert into zeros and then ones. Then some of the C compiler convert the high level language program is a user designed program. It can be converted into assembly level language program. The machine cannot be understood by the machine level language program. Again using the concept of assembler translator, again it will be converted into low level languages or binary level languages. So the next one is the symbol table. In your the first phase of the compiler to the last phase of the compiler, if you are going to identify any of the variable then constant, it will be the value will be stored in a symbol table. Then some of the attribute operation also it can be added in a symbol table. If there is any error will be displayed in any of the phases of the compiler, the error handling will be managed by that particular type of error. The first one is the lexical analysis. The lexical analysis is the first phase of the compiler. This process it can be represented as a scanning. Generally the compiler it will read the whole program. So the same time it will read the entire line of your program. After it will display the total number of errors in that program, otherwise there is zero error in that program. The same type of process are performed in the first phase of the compiler, that is a lexical analysis. Lexical analysis is the first phase of the compiler, also known as the scanning. This representation is the lexical analysis or scanning process. This phase read the source program and break it into stream of tokens. So what are all the tokens? Generally the token is a single unit process, that is the identifier, keyword, constant, operator, and then some special symbols. So after break that each and every source code, it will be identified as the token. So these are all the tokens. The first phase of the compiler, it will be identified by the tokens of your program. The next one is the syntax analysis. After completing the lexical analysis, the lexical analysis output is tokens. The token output, it can be implemented to the second phase of the compiler as the input. So the syntax analysis is the second phase of the compiler. This process also known as the parsing. So this representation can be represented by the tree format. This phase takes the streams of token. The input is the token. Because of that, the lexical analysis will generate the token output. The token output will be given as input to the second phase of the compiler. The stream of token generated by the lexical phase and check whether they conform to the grammar of the programming languages. So this syntax analysis based on the token, it can be generated by the tree based on the context free grammar, then operator precedence. So based on the operator precedence only, the tree can be generated in the second phase of the compiler. The output of this phase is usually an abstract syntax tree. It can be represented as a tree format based on the operator precedence and then context free grammar. The next one is the semantic analysis. This is the third phase of the compiler. This phase check the code is semantically correct, whether it conform the language type system or other semantic rule. Based on the type mismatch kind of error can be identified in the third phase of the compiler. For example, if you are going to mention any type checking process, if you are going to declare a float value or int value, for example, I am going to declare a two identifier, integer and then integer. The output process will be displayed in the integer format only. It will not displayed in the float format. If any of the variable is a float variable, the first variable, the second variable will be a integer variable, means the output based on our user convenience, we are going to get the correct result. Then another one of the possibility is in your program, if you are going to open two open curly braces, compulsory we are going to close the two close curly braces also. This type of process will be identified in the third phase of the compiler. Semantic analysis. The next one is the intermediate code generation. The first three phases of the compiler, that is the lexical analysis, syntax analysis, and then semantic analysis. First three phases is the analysis phase. The third phase is the intermediate. The intermediate is not a front end of the compiler, is not a back end of the compiler. That is the middle of the part. The totally 6 phase of the compiler. The 6 phase, the first 3 phases is the analysis phase. The last 2 phases is the code optimization and then code generation is the back end of the compiler. So back end means it will depend on the machine level languages. But the first 3 phases is the analysis. We are going to analyze that. It will not depend on the machine level languages. The first 3 analysis phase. The intermediate is the, it will be in between of a front end of the compiler and then back end of the compiler. The intermediate code generation is the fourth phase of the compiler. This phase generating intermediate representation of the source code that can be easily translated into machine code. So after completing the semantic analysis, the semantic analysis tree representation directly converted into intermediate representation without affecting the language of the semantic analysis. This intermediate code representation can be converted into 3 address code format. The 3 address code format can be as a quadruple, triple and then indirect triple representation. So based on that, we are going to convert that semantic analysis in representation can be converted into intermediate representation. This intermediate representation we can mention it as in three format, that is a quadruple format, triple format, and then indirect triple format. The next one is the code optimization. This is the fifth phase of the compiler. This phase applies various optimization techniques to the intermediate code to improve the performance of the generated machine codes. So it will improve the efficiency of your program. That's why we are going to implement the optimization concept. The next phase of the compiler is the code generation. This is the final phase of the compiler in code generation. This phase takes the optimized intermediate code and generates the actual machine code that can be executed by the target hardware. So this type of compiler directly convert the high level language program into machine level language program, or zeros and then ones. Then some of the compiler convert the high level language program into assembly level language program. Again using the assembler translator, again it will be converted into low level languages or machine level languages. So finally it will be displayed by the zeros and then ones. Machine understanding format, it can be displayed by the output after completing the code generation. Thank you.